Took some time off, got on my wife's nerves. She kicked me out. I came back with. I've been
Great.
I've been telling a lot of folks, don't call it bootstrap, don't call it anything. It's
Yeah.
just funded. That's what it means.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to Beyond the Prompt, and I'm your host, Sunny. This is a show where we go deeper than the hype, where we go beyond just the prompt. And on the podcast, I talk with product, engineering, and go-to-market leaders who are building AI-native products and using AI to supercharge how their teams operate. If you're looking to scale your business with AI or want to learn from those doing it at the frontier, then you're at the right place. Be sure to stick around for this great conversation with Geoff. And if you're interested in a free consultation on how to maximize the usage of AI for your teams, then click on the link in the description to schedule time with me. All right, Geoff, thank you so much for joining me. I'd love to just start by having you tell us a bit about Hushly and what it does.
Sure. Thanks, Sunny, for having me. In terms of Hushly, we are an all-in-one personalization software company. So B2B marketers use us to educate buyers faster through personalized experiences.
Gotcha. And then what's your role at Hushly?
I'm the co-founder of Hushly. I'm a serial MarTech entrepreneur. And my previous venture, we're like the OGs in marketing automation in the cloud prior to Marketo and HubSpot, etc. So Oracle acquired Market to Lead, which was the business that I founded. Took some time off, got on my wife's nerves. She kicked me out. I came back with. So Hushly has been around for about 8 years now.
Yeah.
And we have evolved over this period of time. We've been big proponents of AI. We've been using AI for about 7 years right now. And we continue to learn and co-develop and co-invent with our customers on this front.
Got it. Is there anything you can share about like who some of your customers are, or like give us a sense of scale of Hushly?
Sure. Most of our customers are mid to large enterprises. They have a lot of traffic, they have a lot of content, and they're trying to make the traffic that they're driving to these digital experiences effective, and also in a more efficient way, right? Once you become effective, it's like, how do I do it at scale? They used to do it through automation, manual automation, and now they're using agentic interfaces to even take that automation to the next level.
Got it. Um, what about like, are you able to share any of those brands or no? It's like,
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's all on our website. So when it comes to AI, the biggest brand in AI, at least everybody knows, is NVIDIA.
yeah,
And they are a customer of ours, been a customer for about 5 years now. So most of our customers are mid to large technology companies like Motorola, Nutanix, mostly like what's the other one? There's a lot of customers on our websites. On the logos are all there. Most of them you can recognize most of those brands.
gotcha. And remind us again, like, what are the kinds of things that you're providing them?
Sure, we provide them digital personalized experiences. So what that would mean is for different touch points. So we can personalize the website, for example, or web pages of the website based on the audience that's visiting the website. We can change different variations we can offer to maybe change the logos, maybe change banners, maybe change messaging, etc. That's kind of website personalization. Another big portion of the website is a resource center or a content hub where you have rich media content like ebooks, white papers, webinars, etc. So we create adaptive content hubs. And we transition them from a browse-first interface where users browsing, searching, navigating, finding content, which is kind of tedious, to an AI-first interface where the agent is doing everything on the behalf of the user and educating those buyers faster. That's the second. When it comes to an account-based go-to-market motion, which is more outbound, say they're going after 50 different accounts and they want tailored microsites for those accounts. And now you're talking to different members of the buying team. So say if you're going after Coca-Cola versus if you're going after Clorox, they're separate industries, but you need to position your products or services very focused on those particular accounts. So we create account-focused microsites. There, we support both the manual way of creating this, but more importantly, the agentic way of the way AI automatically generates microsites for those accounts, doing deep research on those accounts. Um, we also create what are called self-nurturing landing pages, which is different from traditional landing pages where you lead with a form and you try to get a user to complete a registration form in exchange for like a free book, etc. We're not big proponents of leading with a form. We're big proponents of leading with value, kind of like the Netflix binge experience. So user can we also do personalization in terms of display ads, content-based display ads on websites, and also personalization for visitors who are abandoning the website and walking away. Think of shopping cart abandonment for B2B. So all of these kind of touch points is all powered by a single platform, which is Hushly. And from visitor to, close to upsell and cross-sell in terms of repeat buying experiences. So that's what we do in a nutshell.
Gotcha. Yeah. So there's a lot of interesting things there of like, you are able to identify who's visiting the site to then serve the right kind of personalization and content. So you talked a little bit about like account-based marketing as well, where you can tailor the information that account is seeing is different from like a different account. So that's tailored to like that one, to that specific account, right? And that specific business. I'm curious around like, how you are kind of like sourcing that information, if you're able to share some of
Yeah.
any of that information.
It depends. It varies based on the different go-to-market motion, whether it's inbound, outbound, partner-led, event-led, product-led motion. So let's take one, for example, which is more for maybe an outbound-based motion. You're going after 50 different accounts, right? And you want to create microsites for these 50 accounts, kind of tailored for those accounts. The way we would get that information is most organizations will say, this is in Salesforce, right? These are the list of accounts I want to go after. This is who's my account rep associated with a particular account. So there's internal account intelligence. What was the type of sales conversation that the salesperson had with the account? So think of that as internal account intelligence. We couple that with public account intelligence, such as 10Q filings, press releases, in the news type of public account intelligence, right? So our deep research agent goes off and gets that information. And then we overlay that with marketing playbooks, like how do you sell to different personas, or how do you sell to different industries, or how do you sell to different pain points. Once we have the triangulated those three vectors together, right? Then AI goes to work and says, okay, if I'm going after Coca-Cola, how do I auto-generate the microsite for Coca-Cola versus how do I do that? And that's a very tedious job. A lot of research to create that copy for those particular accounts is very, very tedious. So we co-develop these solutions with our customers, trying to figure out, how can we make this easier for our customers, but more importantly, what is that best buying experience that we can offer these accounts to get educated faster, right? So that's an example of how we take the data, how we present the experience, and the insight associated with users engaging with those microsites. So it's based on zero-party data as well as first-party data, because these are users actually telling you what they're looking for, as opposed to, searching and finding and making inferences in terms of what they're looking for. So hopefully that helps you and the user in understanding, how do we source this data and how do we provide those experiences.
Yeah, and you're sourcing that information, but you're also building the websites for your customers as well. I assume like your customers can also take that draft that your AI agent has created to like modify and make adjustments as they kind of see fit as well.
Yeah, it's always going to be a jump start and the human in the middle type of. So we pre-create this, which is a very, very tedious task because
Yeah.
marketers will go to the web developers and also they have to go do a lot of this research. So we automated a lot of that stuff. So it's kind of a jump start. It's right there. If they want to go make modifications, if it's one-to-one or one-to-few, whatever modification they want to make, and then they click the publish button and then it
Yeah.
becomes available. And that's then gets distributed to outreach such as sales, email outreach or sales outreach or like display ads driving traffic to those destination experiences.
Got it. Got it. So yeah, lots of great stuff that you guys are doing. You're doing it from the sourcing side. You're able to generate it, and then of course, there might be refinements and things. It's like you have a good solid draft from AI, and then as a human, you can use your own judgment and taste to figure out like, oh, this is not quite right. Like, let's refine it. But at least you've done a lot of the heavy lifting of that original like first draft, which is super super hard, especially at scale if you're doing it for like tons of accounts. But it sounds like you're primarily focused on B2B, not necessarily like B2C. Is that right? For your clients?
They're only B2B.
Okay.
We don't do anything in B2C. The reason is when you're talking to B2B, you're talking to different members of a buying team. Everybody's kind of has their own role in the B2B buying process, long sales cycles. There's a lot of other dynamics that happen in B2B, which you don't see that in B2C. So you have to build the module which is kind of special purpose in terms of a B2B sales motion.
Yeah. 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 So then it sounds like you're probably likely using your own platform for your own sales and marketing as well. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, we consume our own champagne, yeah, for all our go-to-market activities, whether, if we go to, even if it's an event-led go-to-market motion, how do you warm up users pre-event, during the event, and post-event? Those requires personalized experiences. If you go to our website and you're kind of trying to figure out, to a resource center, for example, we got, hundreds, maybe thousands of articles out there. So we've transformed our website to be an AI first resource center, right? As opposed to a browse first resource center. So there's a lot of things that we use with our own technology to create better experiences for our buyers.
How I'm curious, what has been your experiences and also any kind of feedback from the customers around like the output of AI? Um, yeah, like how have you seen and kind of like taken the kind of like feedback or what you've seen for your own kind of sales and marketing of like, oh yeah, I don't have to change this too much. Like I trust AI versus like, oh, I don't know if I trust the information that's being here.
That's actually a good point. In terms of adoption of AI, we see friction, and you would think that a lot of the stuff is ready to be used and it can be used. But you also see within, at least in the B2B ecosystem, you'll see um, AI policy groups, etc., coming up. So we would have to somehow navigate some of these where, because we are in marketing, it's a little easier. Uh, when marketing, the content that we're dealing is not confidential data or not
Yeah.
personal data. So it's slightly easier, but you still have to go through that education cycle when you're talking to attorneys out there, right? Or the legal guys in terms of
Yeah.
the privacy and security. You have to say, okay, yeah, that's fine. We can at least experiment, and to ease this experimentation, we also allow, say, for example, a content hub. We say, all right, why don't you try the AI first approach for like maybe 10% of your traffic, and still 90% goes to your classical browse first experience, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And once you start to see that, hey, users are getting educated faster, then maybe you can turn that volume knob. So we're definitely seeing that there's huge advantages, but we're also seeing some friction, and we're trying to build in some of these stepping stones to get marketers to adopt some of these new advances in AI.
For the content hub, is it primarily like blogs and PDFs and things like that, or What have people been using the Content Hub for?
So Content Hub's a variety of media like videos, ebooks, white papers, analyst reports, product documents, like pretty much every single thing. So Hashti has a centralized content library which will pull in, centralize and organize all of the marketing assets. And we auto tag all of these assets with the topics we think that the assets are covering. So as users start to engage with those topics or with those assets, we tag the user as well as we tag the account. So that's how we get to produce what's called first party intent, right? These are visitors on our customers' websites or landing pages, etc., engaging with these accounts. So now we can produce what we believe is a kind of an inference signal, which is first party intent, right? So yeah, you can get second party and third party intent from other vendors, but since we are sitting there on customers' property. So in addition to that, we have an ability for users to actually converse with the content. So for example, they listening to a video, right? A 30-minute video on a webinar or a visual case study, whatever, right? We don't believe users have the patience to sit down and listen to 20 or 30 minutes of video or read a 20-page ebook or an analyst report. They can actually ask questions of that video, right? Or the content that they, and now when they're doing that, they're producing what's first party intent. So there's no longer, you're not no longer making an inference on what we think that they may be interested in, which is kind of old school now, and how much of time they spend on my content was kind of vanity metrics.
Yeah.
What are the questions they're asking of that content? What type of content gaps we have, etc. So richer, deeper insight, as well as getting the users educated a lot faster, right? So it works well for both sides.
Yeah, that's super interesting. It made me think of like, yeah, if I'm watching a YouTube video, sometimes it's like a 40-minute video and I'm like, this is way too long. I go to Gemini, paste the video into Gemini. It's like, give me a summary of this video. And then I can like ask additional questions if there's like a topic that I want to dive deeper in. Or maybe I'm like, oh, okay, I'm actually going to watch this section of the video, not the full video kind of thing. But what you're saying though is like, you give that ability within your content hub, and as a person who is serving the content, you get to see the questions that me as a user is asking to then figure out like what, like exactly what you said, what content may be missing, and like this first party intent that you're talking about, that like you as a marketer can figure out like what else you could do with information, or what information you might be missing, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, if you look at all of us, right, the way we're getting educated is we're probably using some of these newer technologies to get educated faster. The challenge, that's what marketers want to do. They want to influence the buying decision. They want to educate you faster. The challenge marketers have is if you take it off to Gemini or offline and you do that, they have no visibility into what it is. So we are offering like both sides of this coin, right? It's like, okay, you don't have to extract it, push it out into another thing. You can ask questions, etc. And you can also save a lot of the stuff, and it has memory of you, right? There's what you did, and you can have similar to like ChatGPT, etc. So when you come to a content hub, it's really personalized one-to-one based on the history or the memory it has about you, right? So, and when they're doing that, when they're asking a question, what we're doing is we are scanning hundreds of thousands of these content articles, right? So the user doesn't have to search, navigate, find, read, view, and get to that insight. It's doing it for them. And when it's coming back as kind of a composite document, right? It's taking a snippet from a blog, it's taking a snippet from your ebook, it's taking a snippet from a video, and it's truly personalized generative AI. It's not like you're doing generative AI in the sense of, yeah, I can go generate content for particular, but it's not real time and it's not one-to-one and it's not based on the question being asked, right? Yeah. So that is where we're pushing the boundaries in terms of, personalized generative AI in real time, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing.
Yeah. That kind of reminds me of like how I sometimes use ChatGPT, where there's a book that I have read in the past and I need like a recap or review of the book. And then, a lot of like nonfiction books is like, here's a concept with some examples. But instead, I'm able to be like, all right, well, apply it to my example. And then generative AI is able to take the concept, apply it to my example, and like give like how I would approach that thing. And so you're talking about it in a similar way where it's like, as a marketer, I have this content, and then the user comes to this content and can figure out how to use this content in my use case as a user. But then that information is super valuable both on the user side, on the marketer side of like, what else could I figure out what to do with this content? What content should I go make? Things like that.
Yeah, in the user side, yes, you're right, right? In the user side, we're laser focused on how to educate those buyers faster, right?
Yeah.
And so by surfacing up what they're looking for through agentic stuff, they don't have to, and they get to the point. And to your point, it has memory. So the next time you come there, you're not starting from level zero. You're starting from where you left off, and it progressively gives you whatever you're looking for.
Yeah. 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 Um, I'd love to go back to that topic of this self-nurturing landing page. I'd like to better understand your thoughts around that. And like, you talked about how like, a lot of like marketing is like, here's a PDF that I dangle in front of you, but you need to give me your information so that I can sell to you later. And like, so you put in the information, you put in like your phone number, your work email, and then you get the PDF, but then you just get like emails because they now have your contact information. Right. So like, I'd love to hear a little bit more how you guys approach self-nurturing landing pages.
So there also we're flipping the interaction model. The traditional model, like you said, is lead with a form, right?
Yeah.
We're leading with value. So what we do is we give the user the content that they came for without having to complete a registration form, right? So you will see a lot of at least 300 or 400% increase in content engagement. And content is meant to influence the buying decision. So the more the content they read, the better it is. Surrounding that primary asset, we saw offer related pieces of content or recommended piece of content, right? So we have different models running, like, for example, content similarity models. If you like this piece of content, what other content is similar to this piece of content? Or they could be path traversal model. People who viewed this content also viewed X, Y, or Z, or people who clicked here. There's about 12 different models running as part of our AI engine, which will surface up that content. And we're not big proponents of email nurture, which is kind of old school. You get one piece of content, you have to wait for 2 or 3 weeks for the next piece of content, whatever that cadence is. We're more like the Netflix binging model, right? So I watch an episode today, I don't have to wait 2 weeks to watch the episode 2. So we are able to, if you have a sequence of content that you want the user to consume, that is also presented to the user, that the user can kind of self-nurture as opposed to email nurture. What we're seeing is few things. The primary asset that you get the user to is not the sole driver of leads. The secondary or related pieces of content significantly produces at least what we're seeing is about 33% lift. So it's significant. And what we are also saying is if the content is valuable, right, the human tendency, to your part, is I want to save it, right? And at that point of time, they made incremental commitments and they're willing to. So we then lower the threshold. We only ask, we'll send it to your business email. We don't ask for first name, last name, job role, titles, typical thing that a traditional registration form will collect. We'll send it to your business email, and Hushly has its own first-party database, as well as we daisy chain all of the data service providers like Clearbit, ZoomInfo, etc. We machine enrich this data automatically with the user's consent, depending on GDPR, whichever geolocation regulations are. But we don't trust the machine enriched data, neither our first-party database or any one of the data service partners that we have. The reason being the database decays at about 2.1% every month. So what we do is once it's machine enriched, we validate it against the prospect's LinkedIn profile, which is our golden record. And once it's validated, then we publish that via API back into the marketing automation platform. So our brand promise for self-nurturing landing page is pretty lofty. Same traffic, same content, right? you will see at least a 300% content engagement lift. Our customers will see at least a 51% lead lift, and they will never get a junk or a Mickey Mouse lead, and every single is compliant with all the geolocation. But that requires thinking differently. You can't say, well, I'm going to reduce my farm or change my colors or, place it there. That doesn't work. It's like actually figuring out how buyers want to buy and then say, okay, this is how we're going to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It kind of it's kind of like how people like YouTube channels are operate, right? Like you just give out a lot of good content, but there are some things that are like if you want more, like there's more behind it. But it's not like you need to give me your email to watch my YouTube video. Like the YouTube video is public, right? And so it's like that same kind of like idea and thought process of like just lead with a lot of value, and then if you're giving enough value, then you get like the high quality leads that really like your content, right?
Exactly. I mean, if your CT, so what if you just put your CT out there without establishing credibility, nobody will click it, right? So we have, some of the industry analysts using Hushly as well, and what they do is if they're trying to get people to book meetings with the analysts, right? They have a lot of research articles, etc., that they started offering up the Hushly way, right? What they found is when they embed their CTA with all of these research articles that they have, they started to build credibility. And at some point of time, they're saying, okay, I want a meeting, right, with the analyst. So in that case, you'll see a significant uplift in meeting bookings when you establish authority or subject matter experts, then you become the thought leader, etc. there. So that definitely what's happening in the B2C world transcends into the B2B world as well. And that's how we're doing that in getting more meetings booked.
Got it. Got it. And higher quality meetings too.
Definitely, because they trust you more as
Yeah.
opposed to, I gave you something, I don't know what it is. It's kind of, I don't even know whether the content is valuable to me, and then I get a call here is like, I like what you said, and I'm willing to, it's more inbound, right? So as opposed to an outbound reach out. So definitely more valuable engagements.
Got it. Got it. Cool. 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 Well, so I've a few last couple of questions for you before we close. It sounds like Hushly's, been doing really awesome stuff for the last 8 years. It seems like you guys have definitely shifted well and really like adopted all things generative AI and agentic AI. I'm curious, like, where do you think Hushly will be in the next like 6 to 12 months?
Interesting. I mean, we co-develop and co-invent with our customers. So our customers come to us and saying,
Yeah.
"Hey, we're doing this right now. Yes, this helps, but there are gaps, right? In terms of so, for example, an example would be we transform the content hub to be AI first, right? And then we built, we call that Content Sherpa. We didn't want to use Copilot.
Yeah.
Overused. We
Yeah, totally overused. Agreed.
with the Sherpa team. So we have
Okay.
Content Sherpa, and then we have Account Sherpa. Those are kind of, so now some of our customers say, we would like that content Sherpa to be embedded in account Sherpa, right? So yes, you can go create these microsites, personalized microsites. And yes, you can think that you're personalizing, but what if they have questions that are not covered? Which we have in our knowledge. So there's some integrations out there, right? So there's a lot of stuff that we have in our roadmap but we prioritize based on what our customers. We are a customer first company, and by that we mean that we do not accept investor capital, so we have no investor pressures to hit some revenue numbers or anything. It's like we are always being driven throughout the journey in terms of what the customer wants, and there will be those early adopter customers or even the innovators in customers who come to us and saying, hey, can we do X, Y, Z? For example, can I automatically generate banners or very specific to particular customers, etc. Can I generate the repurposing of content? Lots of other stuff that AI can do, that we are prioritizing based on what our customers require.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What do you think is, your biggest challenge right now in making Hushly better and grow? I mean, you don't have investor pressure, right? So you can grow as your own pace.
That's a pro and a con, right? The con is being extremely resourceful, because we compete with several different vendors, right? So if you look at just one space, which is the website personalization space, we're competing with, in the enterprise, we compete with Adobe, Target, Optimizely, all billion-dollar brands, or in the mid-market, maybe Mutiny, VWO. So, and then if you go to the content experience platform, we'll have a whole bunch of folks. So we're competing with a lot of companies, or vendor customer competitors who have raised billions of dollars. So we got to be extremely resourceful. So yes, our differentiation is we're an all-in-one personalization platform, so you don't have to duct tape multiple technologies to get that together. And we also lean on the fact that we are customer first. We take pride in the fact that we do not take investor capital, which we don't have to be under investor pressures, etc. But on the flip side of that, we have to be extremely resourceful to get our fair share. So that's been a problem. It will be a problem. We just have to continue to operate to be extremely more resourceful.
Gotcha.
To build on our strengths. So we go small when they have, I guess, big stuff. So yeah, that will continue to be a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, I think that may end up being an advantage because you don't need to move a giant ship of people to adopt and change how they work. Whereas a lot of larger corporations, there is definitely people starting to lean more and more into using AI tools, but there's definitely some fear around people adopting AI tools. But if you're already kind of a lean team, then that team is like, oh, I'm always looking to be able to do more with a small team, and like more willing to adopt and figure out like what are the right set of AI tools that you don't necessarily are building, but like to do everything else in your to like be able to continuously compete in the market, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we have our own SWOT, and so we just figure out, what can we lean on in terms of our strengths, and what are the opportunities and threats that we have to be aware of and monetize.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Cool. I mean, definitely sounds like an exciting future. It's gonna be an interesting future for you and your company and the market. But being a lean team that doesn't have investor pressure, but also like hyper focused on being very resourceful and very focused on your customers sounds like in a good spot. Looks like in a good spot.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always done this. Even in my previous venture, I've always been,
Self.
I would say, customer funded.
Yeah, customer funded.
As opposed to funded. It actually puts you in the right frame of mind,
Yeah.
right?
Customer funded is a great term. Customer.
Yeah, I've been telling a lot of folks, don't call it bootstrap, don't call it NZ. It's funded. That's what it means.
Yeah.
And it's so much it's so much more powerful, and
Really.
so much more meaningful. Yeah, happy to be
Customer funded.
customer funded. So as much as you can use that term, please do.
Yeah, I love it. I love that term. It's a way better term than bootstrap.
Yeah.
All right. Last two questions. This is one of my favorite ones, which is, what are you most proud of and why? And it can be personal or professional.
I'm most proud of the team. The team has been with me over ventures. Some of the guys have been with me for over like 20 years.
From your like previous ventures.
Previous ventures. So in fact, my co-founder just a couple of weeks ago posted something on LinkedIn and said, "Hey, we've been working together for 23 years, right?"
Gosh.
And yeah, so we have a lot of fun. It's very difficult to draw a line where work and personal stuff, because they're like brothers. Like we're working together, so there's a lot of dark times as opposed to bright times, where especially you're being an entrepreneur, and you can lean on that and say, okay, no matter what. So we went through COVID together, we went through the economic downtimes together. Now we're going through the tariff uncertainties together, etc. But all along we say, hey, we're not alone. And when we do that, it's not just us; it's also customers who are repeat buyers who been there. So I'm most proud about building that system together where almost everybody at Hushly, we have not really lost anybody over the years. I'm super proud of that. And to do that over a period of decades, it's special, right?
Yeah.
And you in that way, you don't have to complete each other's sentence. They know, what's your strength in it. So when I talk to my product guys, I'm like XYZ, and that translates into, several different things. But since we've been working together, that's really beautiful for us. What was the other question, or was there another question?
Well, I do want to follow up on that though. Do you have any like quick advice on how you've been able to successfully have like this strong team over the past 2 decades, a little bit over 2 decades?
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely, and in a couple of other core podcasts, a similar question. I have a lot of experience building customer-funded companies, right? And there's I can spend hours and advise or share my knowledge, right? I don't think I'll be as knowledgeable or in terms of building venture-funded companies. I just don't have the experience doing that. But if somebody is looking to say, hey, I want to go down the customer funded route, I would say start off with something really, really small. It doesn't matter what. You don't have to think big and say, I'm going to change the world or conquer the world. Start with something very small in your domain that you have, right? And do it while working, but always have some co-founder with you, right? Because you're going to see a lot more dark times. And once you have something, like it could be a small feature within a specific domain, right? You build it, because if you have ideas and thoughts are damaged, then nobody cares. Honestly, nobody. But once you have something which is you can touch or feel, and then you go out to one particular customer, and you have something when they write you a check. That's it. Doesn't matter what the dollar amount is. It will be $10. I don't care. But it's a huge monumental milestone from an idea, and to get somebody to pay you that, and then you figure out, okay, if I got $10, who else can I sell this? What is the company that I think? And that's how you progressively go. And then there's a lot of other stuff that we can spend hours on, but start small. Make small incremental investments, reach those small micro milestones, and from there you will surprise yourself in terms of what you can do, right? Because once you have that, you become a magnet, and you start to attract a lot of folks saying, hey, I want to be part of this movement, right? Yeah. And that's what if it's helpful I'm happy to advise on. I mean, there's 100 other data points.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of many topics you could go down.
How to compete with the large enterprises, with the big elephants, with how to go to market with partners, and there's a lot of things that you can do. That when you have too much money, common sense goes out the door. So some of these things, when you're placed in these necessities of kind of mother invention type of environment, you come out building the right products, and right? You create long-lasting relationship both with your colleagues as well as with your customers, etc.
Yeah. I think maybe a topic for another time. I think there's a lot we could explore there that we could spend time on. All right. Last question for me is, where can people find you online if they want to learn more about you or Hushly, and how can listeners be useful to you?
Absolutely. I need all the help that I can get, so I can take any advice, any and all advices. I always listen. Just because something did not work in the past doesn't mean it's not going to work in the future. Because there may be some wrinkle or something like that. So I'm always years, even though I've been in this space for like 20 odd years. I always learn about Hushly, it's on hushly.com. It keeps changing very fast based on the technology, and it's hard to keep up there. But I'm also very, very active on LinkedIn. I share my thoughts on LinkedIn on a variety of topics. So reach out on LinkedIn, the traditional channel, and if you want to find out more about Hushly, it's on hushly.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Geoff.
Hey, Sunny, very nice. Thank you for having me, and hopefully it was helpful for your audience.
I think so. I think it definitely was.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Beyond the Prompt. If you enjoyed this discussion, please subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss future episodes with other leading experts in the AI space. Also, if you could take a moment to rate and review the podcast, it would help me tremendously in reaching more listeners and bringing you more great content. Until next time, keep going beyond the prompt.